Me and Roger, we two alphas, and we talk. I can't talk to him face to face because I'm mad at him. We might get to fight. Like, you guys don't understand. And, you know, because I'm be in his face yelling at him and shit. And he think he a man. He think he grown. He gonna be yelling at me. He gonna try to back up his thoughts and stuff like that. You know, and I can't. I don't want to go and say. I don't want to go and say everything because it's going. I don't want to go and say everything. But Roger, he do not like people with him. He dishonored my name, and
But he's still your son.
No, listen. I know he's my son. I'm not cutting him off forever. I just haven't talked to him.
And when he gets in the ring and he him up, you can't about it. He him up because he signed a contract to do that.
It was one of the worst things that I've seen on the internet. You've got this guy. It looks like he was asked into this wrestling sphere. He gets hit in the head with a can. You can't just pummel someone unconscious and then not stop.
Rampage Jackson is still furious at his son Raja for nearly killing a wrestler in the ring last week. After a lot of criticism, Rampage admits he's also angry at his son like others and doesn't deserve the hate he's getting. In a recent interview, Rampage Jackson admits he hasn't spoken to his son, explaining he feels upset that the family name has been dishonored. Ariel Helwani challenges that choice, questioning whether distancing himself is the right move if Rampage truly cares about his son's well-being. Helwani notes that even if his own son did something terrible, he would still try to support him. Rampage clarifies he isn't disowning his son permanently, but chose not to speak to him in the immediate aftermath.
Are you at all worried about his well-being?
Yeah, it's my son. I am worried about his well-being. How many kids you got?
I got 3.
All right, so why you asking me some stupid ass shit?
Well, can I be real with you?
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it would feel like to see my son do that. I also don't think I would cut my son off if he did that. So, if you are worried about his well-being, why are you not talking to him?
Because he dishonored my name, and
But he's still your son.
No, listen. I know he's my son. I'm not cutting him off forever. I just haven't talked to him.
However, Ariel Helwani urges Rampage Jackson to stand by his son, stressing that this is probably the lowest point of Raja's life and when a father's support matters most. Rampage admits he does speak to him immediately after the incident, but claims Raja lies and even puts his other kids in danger, making it impossible to stay in contact. He clarifies he isn't cutting ties forever but needs distance while working with lawyers and handling the fallout. Rampage confesses he's heartbroken and disappointed, admitting he doesn't know how a parent is supposed to react when their child puts someone in the hospital.
But this is the worst moment of his life. He needs you now more than ever.
No, listen, I talked to him after the shit happened, and he hid the fact that he did this shit, and you know, he put my other kids at danger. I just can't talk to him right now. I just can't. I'm not saying I'm never going to talk to him again. I just can't talk to him right now. I need some time. I'm dealing with his attorneys and all this shit, but I'm very disappointed in Roger. Like, yeah, I'm not a perfect parent, so I don't know what's the protocol to how much time you stop from talking to your son when he fucking goes out there and hurt somebody. He put a guy in a fucking hospital.
On the other hand, Mike Milik weighed in on whether Raja Jackson should face jail time, saying charges are almost certain. He called it one of the worst things he has seen online and stressed that being hit with a can didn't justify pummeling someone unconscious an hour later. Milik said if Raja had simply knocked him down and walked away, it might be different, but continuing after that made it inexcusable. In his view, if the state doesn't prosecute, it would be a failure of the system.
Do you think they're going to press charges against him?
I think they should. It was one of the worst things that I've seen on the internet. You've got this guy. It looks like he was asked into this wrestling sphere. He gets hit in the head with a can. You can't just pummel someone unconscious and then not stop. This was an hour after the fact. Even if he got in the ring and knocked the dude out and the dude was unconscious and they walked away, different story. There's no way to excuse that. If the state doesn't prosecute that, that's a malfunction of the state.
Mike Perry defends Raja Jackson on the Psycho Stew incident, saying that since Raja signed papers to enter the ring, the situation becomes complicated. He explained that while pro wrestling is staged, the pain, brutality, and even severe injuries are still very real. Perry noted that Raja wasn't a professional wrestler, but was still brought to make the performance look violent and believable, and in that sense, he delivered. He added that the show continued with Raja choking Stu unconscious and tapping him out, which blurred the line even further between performance and real harm.
And when he gets in the ring and he him up, you can't about it. He him up because he signed a contract to do that.
The whole Raja Jackson, Rampage Jackson, Sicko Stu situation. What do you think?
Yeah, I've been sending my thoughts to Rampage, about that. And from a professional standpoint, someone who kind of understands a little bit about the WWE type pro wrestling, while it may be a fake thing sometimes, a lot of the pain and brutality and horrific injuries go with that sport hand in hand. So bringing Raja in, who is not a professional wrestler, having him sign papers saying he can go into the ring and do this act, and to make it look violent and as real as possible, and he definitely did that. They continue to play along, tap the guy out while he is unconscious, continued the show.
Mike Perry shared his personal view, saying that even Rampage himself admitted that whatever discipline comes to Raja should ultimately help him come out stronger. Perry acknowledged that many might criticize him for his stance, but he pointed out that pro wrestling has always involved extreme and sometimes horrific elements, from razor blades to dangerous stunts. In his opinion, what happened with Raja fit into that same chaotic world, even if it went too far.
In my opinion, and Rampage has said it too. He's like, whatever discipline needs to be done for his son, hope he comes out better on the other side of it, whatever that might be. Yeah, people are gonna crucify me for saying this, but it's like, that's pro wrestling, dude. Like, those guys do some horrific stuff to each other. Razor blades cutting each other, all type of crazy things.
Mike Perry admitted the follow-up shots looked spastic, saying it crossed from a misunderstanding into something criminal, and Raja deserved punishment. Still, he feels Raja needs guidance more than anything. Perry questioned why Raja didn't react right after the beer incident, instead waiting until a wrestling show, which made it look more like a viral stunt for clicks than self-defense.
What do you think about the follow-up shots specifically? Because look, I'll put it
I
like
thought
this.
they were spastic. I thought that there was a lot of it was for entertainment, but a lot of it was for Raja trying to prove a
Just
point.
get his licks, bro. Like,
Get his
I
licks,
saw that
yeah.
he hit him so many times after. I'm like, now this has gone from a misunderstanding or possibly outlashing to
Yes, that's
this
horrible.
this is a crime of some sort.
He should have a punishment.
I don't really
But
know.
I think he needs guidance.
It's a horrible situation, man.
But Stu's awake. What's his thoughts on that? Why didn't Raja do anything when the first beer thing happened? That was
See, that's all the I don't
it
understand.
was out of the show. That was assault. He should have just done it to him then, and then it would have been self-defense. But in a professional ring, at a professional show, a lower class professional show, he's a professional streamer, and they want views, they want clickbait, and he accomplished the mission of having the most viral thing to be talked about. We're still talking about it.
On the other hand, Rampage Jackson is not surprised Raja Jackson hasn't been arrested yet, explaining that police are likely conducting a deeper investigation. He points out that similar incidents have happened before in pro wrestling, but this one spreads faster because it is live streamed. Rampage adds that clips being shared on social media make it go viral and draw far more attention than usual.
Raja hasn't been arrested?
No, honestly, I'm not. I'm not surprised that Raja hasn't been arrested. Like, I feel like the police are doing like a deep investigation, because this is not the first time that something like this has happened in pro wrestling. It's not. It is just a high-profile case. I feel like, because it was live streamed on a different. It went different than. So let me explain something to you with live streaming. Live streaming, you have people watching your streams just to clip your stuff, to post it on their social medias to go viral, right? So this shit went more viral than if somebody regular was just filming that there with their phone. Like, it's already a community tapped in watching these live streams, so stuff can go viral. And people never seen no shit like that.
Rampage Jackson explains that Raja jumped into the ring and blindsided a wrestler, and while some of it was part of the act, he admits Raja went too far compared to what usually happens in small wrestling shows. He stresses he isn't excusing the behavior, saying anyone who attacks like that should face consequences. At the same time, he pushes back against people labeling Raja an animal, arguing that anyone can lose control when provoked.
It looked like Raja snuck into a wrestling ring and came up behind a pro wrestler and beat the fuck out of him, when that part was staged. The part that didn't look staged, it didn't seem staged, that Raja took it too far. But that happens in pro wrestling at the lower levels and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You guys gotta Like, do your research. Like, it was certain pro wrestlers that did that. They hurt people on purpose. They just did that. And there's hardcore pro wrestling. It's different shit. But Roger know nothing like that. I'm not taking it up for my son. Any man that beats somebody like that in the ring, they should face some consequences. But I don't take kindly to people calling my son like a cage animal and say he don't got no undeveloped frontal lobe and stuff like that. I don't take that kindly because anybody in a race can explode when they're pushed. Anybody.
Chael Sonnen also admits he isn't surprised Roger Jackson hasn't been arrested yet, explaining that authorities can't act until Psycho Stu confirms the attack wasn't part of the performance. He points out that every wrestler the night promised to hit, slam, and throw strikes as part of the show, but the difference with Raja was that he appeared to stop performing and instead tried to cause real harm, crossing the line from entertainment into potential criminal behavior.
Are you surprised nothing has happened to him? Are you surprised there haven't been any arrests, any charges, anything like that?
No. They can't and they won't make an arrest until Psycho Stu says that wasn't planned. Everybody on the card that night said before the match they're going to beat the hell out of their opponent. Everybody on the card that night, winners and losers, hit their opponent. Everyone on the card that night picked their opponent up, threw him to the ground. The difference was they were performing. What was in their heart was different. It appeared that Raja stopped performing and started to try to injure a man. And that is the difference between the show and a crime. But when I say that's what it appears, only Stu gets to stay. The rest of us are marks. Only Psycho Stu gets to say that, and he has up to 12 months.
Chael Sonnen suspects Psycho Stu may drag things out, but emphasizes that police won't make an arrest based only on video evidence. He claims and explains that pro wrestling is designed to blur reality for the audience, making the footage unreliable on its own. According to Sonnen, the only perspective that truly matters is Psycho Stu's, and so far, he hasn't spoken out.
I have a feeling he might drag this on, but they're not going to go just arrest him because they have a video of a pro wrestling match, and the audience doesn't get to decide what's real and what's not. The audience job is to be entertained and constantly fooled. So they don't actually get to say how bad this was. Only one person does, and that's Stu, and so far, he's remained silent.
Chael Sonnen also addressed the backlash he received for weighing in on the Raja Jackson incident. He said people accused him of defending Raja or justifying the attack, but he denied that. Sonnen clarified that his perspective was strictly legal, not personal, and he emphasized the assault was criminal and could even qualify as attempted murder if premeditation were proven.
Errol, they were very upset, and they were upset that I would be so disgusting as to defend Raja Jackson and to make an argument that what Raja did was okay. The problem was, I don't think any of those things, and I didn't say anything remotely close to that. I tackled this from the same perspective both times, which is the legal perspective. You have this crime. You have a clear assault that might even be attempted murder if you believe it to be premeditated. The authorities are in possession of what you've already deemed is disgusting, horrifying, and criminal, but they haven't taken action. And I explained in both videos why they hadn't taken action. I never even touched on Raja, why he did it, Psycho Stu, what happened to him, never touched it.
Chael Sonnen compared the situation to someone calling the police from a payphone to report an assault, where an arrest would usually follow right away. In this case, he pointed out authorities have video evidence but haven't confirmed an investigation. He explained that since it happened in a pro wrestling setting, charges can only move forward if Psycho Stu represses them. Sonnen stressed his intention was never to defend Raja Jackson, but simply to explain how the legal process applies here.
If I would go to 7-Eleven to a payphone and dine you out, I make a call and I say that I saw you doing that to somebody, you would have been placed in handcuffs. They're a step further in this jurisdiction. They have the tape. They've seen it with their own eyes. They have not even commented that they are investigating it. The whole thing is pro wrestling unless Psycho Stu asks them to take charges. And that is the part that I find interesting. It's all that I ever said. And all the heat came back as though that was a defense of Raja, but it doesn't even include Raja's name, for that matter.
Rampage Jackson lashes out at Psycho Stu, expressing frustration that he hasn't taken responsibility after the incident with Raja Jackson. He argues that Psycho Stu should admit his role, pointing out that the situation never would have escalated if he hadn't struck Raja on the back of the head with a can.
Psycho Stu to tell his part that my son did not sneak up on him, and I never heard him say that. So now I'm upset. Now I'm upset. Now I'm upset with Psycho Stu because he didn't come out and say, "Oh, whoa, yeah, what Roger did was fucked up, but he didn't sneak in the ring and do this. The shit was staged." That's all he had to say to get some of these racist ass motherfuckers out of my DMs. Hey, he's seeing all this shit how it fucking blew up and stuff like that. He should at least said something.
Okay.
Take some accountability. Like, honestly, everybody was wrong. Roger was the most wrong. Everybody was wrong, but none of this shit ever would have happened if Psycho Stu never hit my son on the back of the head with a fucking can that they were drinking beer out of, and then grabbed him by the neck, asked him to fucking sell it. If that shit never happened, none of this shit never happened.
Meanwhile, Ariel Helwani criticizes Raja Jackson, calling the incident a storm of stupidity. He describes Raja Jackson as insane and believes he should face whatever consequences follow. Helwani also notes that no charges of arrest have been made yet, but insists the behavior is nothing short of foolish.
An absolute shitstorm of stupidity. I mean, just even calling it a shitstorm of stupidity is being kind. And it starts with Raja himself. What he did and the way he acted was absolutely insane. He deserves anything that is going to come his way, and as of now, it's nothing. As of now, he hasn't been charged, he hasn't been arrested, he hasn't been anything. And I don't know if he's going to be, and far be it for me to sit here and be like, that was first degree this, and I've seen people weigh in on like what it is. I'm no lawyer, I'm no officer. What I know is that it was absolutely stupid what he did.
Ariel Helwani lashes out at the promotion for not making it clear to Raja Jackson that the match was scripted. He explains that instead, Raja spent hours reading online comments from kids daring him to go through with it, which only fueled his reckless mindset. Helwani repeats that the entire situation was dumb.
Explain to the guy who was going into the ring that, hey, this is a work. This is scripted. You're not actually supposed to try to kill the guy. They failed to do that. What they did was they let him sit there for 2 hours or an hour and read comments from God knows who, 12-year-olds saying, are you really going to do it? You don't have the balls to do it. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do it. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do it. Watch me do it. Oh, I'm going to do it until they pull me off of him. I'm going to kill this guy. Dumb. Dumb. GC, what did you think of all of this?
Moreover, Greg Doucette argues that Raja Jackson may have destroyed his career and could even end up in prison for an unknown stretch of time. He explains that this is the natural result of someone lashing out after constant teasing and belittling. In his view, Raja has grown up in Rampage's shadow, where even his father mocks him, and that pressure made the outburst feel like a ticking time bomb waiting for the wrong push.
And so Raja most likely has ended his career, will end up in prison for God knows how long. And so, in my opinion, this is an example of exactly what happens when kids, they lash out. And by kids, I mean adults who are only 25 years of age. Perhaps he's 26, I forget. When you keep on poking the bear, you keep on teasing someone, you keep on belittling them, putting them down, making them feel less than other people. Eventually, you can't handle it and you don't give two Turks about anything. And so, in my opinion, this was a ticking time bomb. Imagine, you're this kid. You have to live up to your dad's reputation. And all he does is make fun of you, puts you down, calls you a bitch, pussy. Eventually, what do you think you're going to do when the wrong person pushes you the wrong way?
Greg Doucette explained that the situation spiraled out of control from the start. He pointed out that Raja had even been streaming beforehand, saying he wouldn't listen to anyone and planned to keep hitting Psycho Stu until people dragged him off. And when the moment came, Psycho Stu allowed Raja to pick him up in typical wrestling fashion, but instead of working with the performance, Raja slammed him violently to the ground. The impact caused the back of Psycho Stu's head to hit hard, knocking him out instantly, which Greg stressed was extremely dangerous.
Only this time it went wrong. And so prior to getting in the ring, Raja is streaming saying, I'm going in there and they told me to hit him once, but I don't care. I'm gonna keep on hitting him until everyone pulls me off. And so he jumps in the ring, grabs the guy. He was clearly letting him. I mean, we know that if he was actually to be grabbed, he would have done something. He's letting him pick up in the air. He's grabbing his thing, and then he slams him to the ground. Unfortunately, he bangs the back of his head on the drop. And you all know when you get hit in the back of the head, you can go unconscious. It's very dangerous. And so he literally gets knocked out upon landing. Now, in a real fight, if it was UFC, MMA, and so on, once you're unconscious, the fight is over. Now,
Greg Doucette went further in his criticism of Roger Jackson, pointing out that the script only called for a single punch. Instead, Roger kept swinging, throwing more than 20 shots at an already unconscious Psycho Stu. He emphasized that once blood was pouring and no punches were coming back, it was obvious that the fight should have ended. By continuing past that point, Greg argued, Roger crossed into criminal territory and put himself on the path to jail.
So he gets up on top and he punches him. That was basically the script. And so at this point, I think there's nothing wrong with this. Hey, it was a script. I didn't notice he was unconscious, and so I hit him. Fine. What about the second punch? The third? The fourth? The 10th? The 20th? What about on number 27? When blood is pouring out of the person's head and he hasn't swung back a single time. Do you not think he would know if somebody is defenseless or not? And so I don't care if the guy deserved it or he didn't deserve it. I don't care about any of that stuff. When the person you're beating up is unconscious and can no longer defend themselves, the fight is over. And if you continue to beat that person up, that's when you're in the wrong, and that's when you go to jail.
And that wraps up today's video. Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates.